What's popping, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, El Toro Analysis. I am your host, El Toro. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys are all doing well, staying safe and keeping healthy. I'm certainly doing not too bad myself, thanks for asking. Yeah guys, let's get into today's topic. Okay, so I want to start off with Premier League news and on some transfer news now from Liverpool. Xherdan Shaqiri has just completed a £5 million move to Olympique Lyon, and this deal has potential add-ons like within the next few months, within the next year or so. So this is a move that's, I think, in line with where Xherdan Shaqiri is in his career right now. I do not think that he was going to get a look in under Jurgen Klopp anytime soon. So yes, I do wish him all the best with his new challenge in France. So next up, we have Jurgen Klopp and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So these guys, after their respective matches during the weekend, had something to say about like the physicality levels of those games, you know. So under Jurgen Klopp, I do understand why he is complaining about such physicality, because he lost one of his key players in Virgil van Dijk last season due to a very bad tackle that led to an injury that laid Virgil off for the entire season, right? So I do understand why he would complain about such a thing. And his comments were basically that if you do want to see that type of physicality in the Premier League, it's basically, you should just go and watch wrestling. You know, you should go watch the Tribal Chief, you should go watch John Cena, you should go watch Edge, because the way football is now is not the way it was 10 to 15 years ago. So he does not like the way referees are handling matches currently. And then with Oli, I just feel like he's making really weak excuses, considering the fact that his players aren't really that physical, but then when it comes to his players being fouled, or whenever there's contact with some of his players, they just become prime Michael Phelps, prime Chad Leclos, prime Cameron van der Berg, you know. They just become master divers. Yeah, in essence, I just feel like this is not something that top-class managers should be complaining about, because it is part of certain teams' identities in the Premier League, and you can't really take away that physical aspect and just dilute it to a point where football is no more a contact sport. Football has always been a contact sport, and it will always be a contact sport. So I feel like these managers just need to calm down. If you're a manager and you're tactically astute, you should not be worried about such things. So with the results from the weekend, firstly we had Liverpool versus Burnley, and Liverpool won this one 2-0, courtesy of goals from Diogo Jota and Sadio Mane. This Liverpool performance, I was particularly impressed with the likes of Diogo Jota, Kostas Tsimikas and Harvey Elliott. Harvey Elliott the most, because he's the youngest out of those players, and he's had some time out on loan last season to improve as a footballer, and now he's back and he's being integrated into the Liverpool first team. And I feel like it's very important for a team like Liverpool to have their youngsters excelling at this stage, having lost a player like Jorginho Wijnaldum, you know. All in all, having kept a clean sheet, Liverpool played really amazing football, and they're continuing with their momentum in carrying forward what they did in the first game. Next up, we have Aston Villa versus Newcastle, and this was a really great game for Aston Villa, especially because I really wanted to see their new signings do something for the team, you know, and Danny Ings absolutely delivered on that regard. He scored a beautiful bicycle kick, and it was well executed, because that type of technique is not something that you learn over time. It's just something that you have in you. It's either you do or you don't, and the timing of that bicycle kick was perfect. The connection was sweet. Everything about it was just a 10 out of 10. Next up, we had Crystal Palace versus Brentford, and this was really, if you missed this game, basically you didn't miss out on much. Next up, we had the Citizens versus Norwich City, and we won that game 5-0. It was an all-round brilliant performance from City, even though we didn't really escape like second, third gear. We just played the game at a normal pace, and it was a great match for the likes of Gabriel Jesus and Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish got his first goal for the Citizens, and it wasn't the best goal ever, but you know, in the record books it says it's his goal, so you know, it is what it is really. And yeah, Riyad Mahrez also got in on the act. Same thing with Raheem Sterling. Aymeric Laporte got himself a goal. So I'm just happy with the all-round performance of the team. Next up, we nearly had a return of the comeback kings, you know, Manchester United. They drew with Southampton 1-1, and it was a pretty decent game for Southampton, because I thought Man United would blow them out of the water, but they held their own against Manchester United. And Mason Greenwood got them that equalizer. The first goal was an own goal, of course, from Fred. And yes, I guess this speaks to what I said last week about not getting too excited about the first result of the season, because Manchester United looked like they're going to win this game, like on paper, but of course that didn't happen. So in football, just expect anything. Never feel like your team is going to beat another one just because on paper you're better than them. Next up, we had Leeds United versus Everton, and this one ended 2-2. It was an absolutely brilliant game, especially for the likes of Rafinha, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Damari Gray got his first goal for Everton, so that was great for him. And just to go back to the Rafinha goal, it was absolutely brilliant, man. That was a rocket, and the keeper just had no chance of saving it. Up we had Brighton versus Watford, and Brighton won this one 2-0, courtesy of goals from Shane Duffy and Neil Maupay. Brilliant performance all around from them. In Tottenham Hotspur versus Wolves, this one ended 1-0 to the good for Tottenham, and they scored a winning penalty courtesy of Dele Alli, and this was very early in the game, so big ups to them for controlling the lead until the end of the game. And also it's very good for Dele Alli because he got himself a goal. We all know how he was ostracized by Jose Mourinho while he was in charge last season, so it's good for him to be in the starting lineup and getting the goals for Tottenham Hotspur. Maybe it might do good for his confidence. When it comes to Wolverhampton Wanderers, I did say that their project is in trouble, especially under their new manager, and it showed because they had much more possession. They had way more shots on goal, but very few on target. So their conversion rate is just not adding up, and it's not good enough. Then Arsenal versus Chelsea. Brilliant game from Chelsea. And Thomas Tuchel was not kidding when he said that he is creating a team that people are afraid of facing, because now they've just added Romelu Lukaku to their, firepower up front. And that guy's an absolute beast, bruh. He scored on his second debut for Chelsea, his first goal for Chelsea, and it was absolutely brilliant from the likes of Reece James. He got himself a goal and an assist, so he's continuing to grow as a right full back or right wing back, and it's things you love to see. It's things you love to see because this is a player that has pocketed the likes of Raheem Sterling. He's played very well against the likes of Benjamin Mendy and Atletico Madrid, those types of teams. So I don't really see Thomas Tuchel dropping him from the starting lineup anytime soon because he's an absolutely good player. And just a word on the game as a whole, I was glad to see Mateo Kovacic start in midfield. And with this one, I have a lot to say because when it comes to Thomas Tuchel's style of play, his identity and all that, I feel like it's going to affect a whole lot of footballers at Chelsea Football Club because the way he plays doesn't suit some of the players. For example, Callum Hudson-Odoi, he doesn't really play much under Thomas Tuchel, and with good reason, because on the wing you have Reece James, who's a right full back, and he's doing very well. If Callum Hudson were to play, it would have to be on the wing, and that doesn't really support the kind of player that CHO is. And then another player is N'Golo Kante. I'm not really sure if this was an indication of things to come, but Conte started on the bench for this game, and Jorginho and Mateo Kovacic had a very great game. Ever since I've watched Chelsea play, I've very seldom seen Mateo Kovacic lose the ball, and that's a great attribute to have as a central midfielder. Then the last game of matchday 2 was West Ham United versus Leicester City, and West Ham United demolished Leicester 4-1. Another brilliant performance from Michail Antonio. He got himself a brace and an assist, and then Said Benrahma also got in on the act, and Pablo Fornals also scored a goal. So I did say last week that Michail Antonio and Said Benrahma are very exciting, and they proved that. They proved that again with their brilliant performance against Leicester. Yes, Leicester did get a red card, but don't always win a game because you're one man up. They bossed the game and they didn't lose their composure. They didn't become complacent. So with this week's top performances, I have to give them to Romelu Lukaku, Kostas Tsimikas, and Gabriel Jesus. With Romelu Lukaku, he just bossed Arsenal. There's no other way to put it. With Kostas Tsimikas, he had a brilliant assist for Diogo Jota. And finally, with Gabriel Jesus, he had a brilliant game, linking up play from the wings and finding himself in positions where he was able to exploit the opposition defense. So yeah, he had a brilliant game, and those three players are my star performances for the week. That's it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you do enjoy the content, because I will be releasing more videos in the coming weeks. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you guys stay safe, stay well, and stay healthy. Peace.